Hey guys, Kelsey here with Wolf Industries with not only a new video about our frequently asked questions, but also in our new Wolf gear color, hot pink. What do you think? So let's get right into our questions. These are also on our website under the FAQs, but we are going to go through them one by one just to inform everyone of some of our frequently asked questions. So here we go. Question number one, what is the difference between a mobile manufactured home and a Wolf Industries modular unit? So people throw around mobile, manufactured, and modular, not knowing how they're built differently. And the big thing is that we're following a code called IRC, which is your International Residential Code that stick-built homes are built to. So modular is following stick-built code. And the term stick-built is referred to on-site building, meaning built outside on-site. And we say modular to the code. So following that IRC stick-built code. This also gives us a gold label from L&I. So L&I here in Washington are the inspectors who are approving all of our builds, and we get a gold label. We place it inside the electrical panel in our homes, which is the same thing that happens for stick-built homes. Mobile manufactured homes, on the other hand, are following a different set of building codes. They are HUD standards set by the federal government. They receive a red label showing that they are different building code than the gold label. So that is the main difference between mobile manufactured homes and modular units. Next question. So what does turnkey ready mean? Turnkey for Wolf Industries is the idea that we're handling everything from start to finish, making an easy process for you as our client. You don't have to have any contractors outside of what we do because we handle your permitting process with our in-house permit specialists. We handle the production of the home right here in our factory in Battleground, and we handle all of the site work and delivery. We have our own field crew that handles everything from your excavation, foundation, delivery, utility trenching, everything, so that turnkey, we handle it all. You do not have to stress and worry about things that you need to do outside of the project. We've got you covered. Next question. What are my customization options? So with a Wolf home and the prices you see on the website, there are standard inclusions for cabinets, countertops, light fixtures, the color of those fixtures. And then we also have an options book online that shows you everything that you can customize. And things like a front door, interior door, you have a standard. And then you have one or two customization options to kind of change it, make your home your own. We don't want to have too many options because you can get options fatigue, but the options we do have make sure that not a single home goes through the production line the same. Every home goes through different, and you can pick and choose based on the options that are in our options book. Do you offer financing? We have financing options. We don't have in-house financing, but we have a full list of lenders who offer all types of financing, whether that's a new construction, which includes a land and home package, HELOC, refi, second mortgage. There's lots of options out there. It's not in-house, but we do have a list of lenders available for you. Are tiny homes ADA accessible? We say ADA friendly because we can't always follow everything required for ADA code. So we can add a ramp, we can widen certain doorways in our homes, we have taller toilets just by default, we can add grab bars, but there's some things that we don't offer that are required to be fully ADA compliant, so we say ADA friendly. What do I do for insurance? So you are going to call your local homeowners insurance company and let them know that you are adding an additional dwelling unit to your home. You're going to say that it is a modular home to stick-built code because manufactured has different insurance rules. So you just reach out to who you currently have your homeowner's insurance through, and they will be able to help you going forward. Question, can I supply my own personal items to be installed? And there are people who want to be able to do this, but we do not install customer supplied items. So the best suggestion going forward is our standards are awesome quality. There's a good options list for what is our standard inclusions. So if there are certain things that you want to change out later, then just stick with our standard options. You can have a standard ceiling fan, standard kitchen knobs, and those items are all included in the standard price of the model. So just go with what's already included, and then you can swap it out later. Are your homes ANSI certified or ANSI? And yes, all of our homes are ANSI certified. Question: what is the effect on my property values? So you are adding an additional dwelling unit to your property. This means additional dwelling space, living space. So because it is living space, it will increase your property value because you are adding living space to your property. So just like the current size of your house for square footage affects your property taxes, adding an additional dwelling unit will slightly increase your property taxes. What percent that is, I'm not sure. You could reach out to your local assessor to find out. How much does each unit weigh? It depends on the unit. So a model E or F that's 616 square feet, it's about 30,000 pounds. That's important for if we're doing a crane or if we're going on a ferry. Most of the time, the unit weight doesn't affect project. We're building our foundations to match the house that we're placing on your property. Next question. Okay, do you handle permitting? Yes, we do. We have an in-house permit specialist team. One of them would be assigned to your project. So part of that whole turnkey option is our permit team. When you sign a contract with us, you'll be handed over to your permit specialist who is going to handle everything that encompasses your permit project. So creating your site plan, filling out the packet with your jurisdiction, ordering any inspections that might be needed based on the property. We handle all of that for you, all up until your permits are issued, and then your permit team is done and hands you back over to sales. What is the additional cost for the permits themselves from my jurisdiction? This is a question that I can't fully answer only because it depends on the jurisdiction we're working in and what is happening on the property. So if this is an ADU in the backyard pulling off of utilities from the primary house, that's going to be probably the least expensive option. If we are doing an ADU in the backyard, but they're doing separate utilities, that's going to increase permit fees. If this is a primary house on a new piece of property and we're doing full project development, again, that's going to change the fees as well. So permits themselves are based on jurisdiction and what is happening for the project itself. Does a Wolf home come with a warranty? And yes, it does. We offer a 1-year warranty from the time keys are handed to you, where you can call us with anything that you need fixed, repaired. If you have a question about anything, we have a 1-year warranty for you. Is my property eligible to have a tiny home or ADU added? And that's going to be based on a couple things. So the jurisdiction, the zone, the size of the property. The best bet is to just reach out on our website for the free property evaluation or give us a call and we can have a phone consult to talk it out with you. Can 2 or more of these be placed on a property? And yes, it's possible. Whether or not it's possible on your property depends on zoning, minimum lot size, setbacks for the actual building space that you have available in your yard. So yes, you can. Code has changed to being able to have 2 ADUs, but it really depends on the property size. Again, you can reach out on a property evaluation. We can schedule a phone consult so we can talk that out. Can I visit my home while it is being built in the factory? Yes, that is something we really want you to do. So when a house goes into production, you will get an email saying production has started. And then you are allowed to come in anytime while your house is in the production line and visit your home. We have a little sign-in sheet and some cute pink vests that you put on, which allow you to walk around the production line as a client whose home is going through the line without needing a sales buddy. Usually when you come in for a factory tour, you're going to have someone walking with you just to keep you on the right track throughout the factory. But when your home is in production, you are allowed to come in anytime and go check it out, take pictures, take measurements, and see how it's going. What homes do you offer? So we have 7 models that we offer on our website, ranging from 300 square feet up to 1,232 square feet. The smallest one being the Model B, 300 square feet, and that is only available in the City of Portland jurisdiction just for review and inspection reasons. And then we go to the Model K, which is 432 square feet. We have two at the 616 square feet, the Model E and the Model F. Then we go up to the Model J at 800 square feet, the Model L at 980 square feet, and the Model I at 1232 square feet. All of these different bedroom, bathroom sizes, and you can visit our models page on the website to learn more about each one of them. Question, where are the utilities in a Wolf home? And when we are talking about utilities, yes, we have water, sewer, power that's happening under the house or at some connection point, but these utilities specifically to our electrical panel, your water heater, and your condenser unit for your mini split. So you've got the electrical panel is on the outside of your house. The water heater is in a closet somewhere inside a house. So, depending on the model, it might be in actually one of the bedroom closets. In one of the two-piece units, we have designated mini closets where the water heater would go. And then the condenser unit for your mini split, which is just like having an AC in your home and you've got that box out in your backyard. It is attached to the outside of your house for your mini split system, which leads us into the next question. What is a mini split system? The mini split is your heat and AC for the house. And the unit that we provide is based on the square footage and calculations. And the mini split is going to be in your living room, kitchen area, central for the home. And then again, providing heat and AC standard. And then, as mentioned before in another question, the condenser unit for your mini split is attached on the outside of your house, just like it would be in your backyard at home for your air conditioner. In addition to the mini split system, each bedroom has an additional wall heater. Because that mini split is a ductless system, meaning that it doesn't have ducts that go in the attic or the crawl space to those other bedrooms, when you close the door, you still need heat. And so, with that mini split system being in your living room kitchen, each bedroom then has an additional wall heater. And again, the mini split system is your heat and AC standard in all of our homes. A single unit will have a single system. Our double units usually have two systems, one at the front and one at the rear of the house. Can you have a shed roof on any model? On our single units, so the K, the E, and the F, and the B, you can have a shed roof or a gable roof. There's no cost difference between the two designs. The only price difference would be if you change material. So composite shingles would be your standard material, your metal roof would be your upgrade. So those single units can have a shed roof or the gable roof. Now, when we get into our two-piece units, there is one model that can have a shed roof, that Model J, the 800 square feet. Because it's only 23 feet wide, it can be built as a shed roof. So the lower side where your kitchen cabinets are going to be just a 7-foot height on your interior wall to accommodate that shed roof going all across that 23 feet of your house. The L and the I are just built the way they are with the gable roof. They cannot have the shed roof. But if you're looking for a two-piece unit with a shed roof, go with the Model J. Is the gable or shed roof choice included in the cost? Yes, it is. You can choose either design, the gable or the shed roof on all of our single model units. So the B, the K, the E, or the F. And the only price difference is going to be if you change material. So shingles are your standard material. Your metal roof would be your upgrade, which you can choose to do for either the gable or the shed roof. Are appliances included in the cost of the home? They are not included in the cost of the home only because not everyone wants our appliances. So we have a standard package, a Whirlpool appliance package. It gives you stainless steel combined with some black features in your kitchen for your dishwasher, your range, your microwave hood combo, and your refrigerator, and then a full-size front-load white washer and dryer. Now, if you don't like what we offer, and you can break up that package, you don't have to get them all, or you can just have them all included and we will install and test. But if you don't like what we offer, then those spaces where the appliances go will just be prepped and ready for you to install your own appliances after final inspection. Do Wolf homes offer gas? We do not offer gas in our homes. They are full electric, but gas is easy to add after the fact. So you would call a local plumber to run gas lines, whether that's natural gas from the street or propane tanks, and they would just plumb under the house, adding gas where you like. I know some people like to cook on gas versus the electric. So if that's the case, you just don't purchase the Wolf range, the electric range, and leave that as an open space and install your gas range after inspection. Do you offer just the shell of a tiny home? We don't offer just a shell. It can be done if you didn't want, let's say, the kitchen installed, but it's still the standard price. So the model prices that are listed on the website are standard move-in ready, meaning you've got your cabinets, your countertops, bathroom vanity, light fixtures, flooring. All of it is move-in ready. So if you did want to remove anything, we do not deduct the price. You would just go with the standard model price as is. How long is your production lead time? Production lead time depends on a couple things. It depends on where our production queue is at the time that you sign a contract. So if we're 4, 6, 7 months out, when you sign an agreement with us, you get the next slot in the production line at the end of the line. The other thing that we're working with is your jurisdiction permit timing. Some permits are issued relatively quickly and we can get your permit in, let's say, a month or two. Some take a little bit longer. And so those jurisdictions who are the longer jurisdictions for timelines of 8 to 12 months, that will also affect your production time based on where we have you placed. We want to make sure that we have your permits in hand before we can build. So production lead time based on where our production queue is at the time of signing, along with your jurisdiction timeline. Do all decks come covered? No, they don't all come covered. We offer an 8x10 covered porch. We don't consider ourselves a deck company, so we just have a few deck options. We've got a 3x3, a 3x6, an 8x10 deck, and then an 8x10 covered deck if you wanted to add that. And then we're going to switch up with different model sizes. So depending on the model, if you are doing a single unit, like let's say that model E with a shed roof, you're going to have a shed roof option for that deck. If you are doing a model E with your gable, which is your traditional peak in the middle, then your deck would be a gable to match. Then we can switch it up even more depending on where the front door is. If it's on the long side or the short side, then you have different cover options. So it really depends on which model you choose and the roof style. What is the difference between a deck and a porch? And the deck is just what you're standing on. So that is your 3x3, 3x6, 8x10 deck at your point of entry. Versus a porch means that it's now covered. So when you add one of those covered options, whether it's the 8x10 cover, shed, or gable option, that makes it a porch. Question, what is the standard eave overhang on a tiny house? The standard eave overhang is dependent on the model roof style you go with, whether it's a shed or a gable. A shed roof on certain models has some eave extension. The gable has like a standard 9-inch overhang, but then also what's happening on the property. So if we need to reduce those eave overhangs, we can if we're getting a little close to other structures on site, or if we're in a jurisdiction that requires a longer overhang, we can do that too. So, but our standard would be about 9 inches. What is the snow load of our standard home? So standard snow load is 30 pounds per square foot, but we can modify it based on our elevation. So if you are in a location that has an increased snow load, we can modify our homes, making the joists closer, asking for a letter from our engineer on what we need to do to increase that snow load to match your jurisdiction requirements. What roofing material do you use? We use standard composite shingles, and we have 3 colors. There's black, brown, and gray. If you want to do a roof material upgrade, that would take you to a metal roof. And we have, I don't know, 12 or 15 colors that you can choose from. So there's a lot of options based on what your price range is. Again, the shingles would be your standard, the metal would be your upgrade, and it depends on the model you choose. Do I have to pay for the delivery of my tiny home? Yes, you do pay for delivery, but it's included in what we call our flat rate package. So when we get into quoting, we're going to quote out the 3 phases of your project. You've got your permitting phase, your house production phase, and your site work and delivery phase. And depending on the phase, you might have some subsections. So in the site work and delivery phase, we have our first section, which is your flat rate. And the flat rate includes 20 miles of delivery around our factory here in Battleground. Outside of those 20 miles, we add on mileage for delivery. And the mileage for delivery is not just for the one day of the house delivery, it's because it's our field crew who is on site doing all of the site work over the couple months of your project, from your excavation, your foundation, your delivery trenching, and then delivery being one of those things that's included in that flat rate. And then, as mentioned, we can add mileage. We also have deliveries up on islands. So we've done some ferry deliveries where we will add a ferry delivery charge too. Does a wider option have higher delivery costs? It does, but it's built into that flat rate cost that we mentioned that we would go through during our quoting process. So, depending on the model, you've got your standard rate for your flat rate package that includes delivery, and it includes your excavation, your foundation, your delivery trenching, your 20 miles of delivery, your project manager running everything for final cleanup, all of the inspections, everything that needs to happen on site to get one of our wolf homes onto your property. And that flat rate is dependent on which model you choose. So we go from the model B, which is 10 feet wide, up to the model I, which is 2 units, and each of those is 14 feet wide. So your delivery cost depends on which model you're going with, and it's all encompassed in that flat rate package. Do you handle delivery and setup? Yes, that is part of that flat rate package that I've mentioned before. Delivery is usually just one day of our delivery crew. And part of delivery is we've got pilot cars, we've got your CDL driver with our semi truck that's bringing the house to your location, and then setup of getting the house off of the trailer onto the foundation, doing all of your connections, inspections, final cleanup, all of that is part of our setup and delivery quote that we give you. Where do you deliver to? All over. Well, within the 9 Western states. We have done homes in Montana, in Idaho, all over Oregon and Washington. So from the coast over to the Idaho side, we've gone everywhere. So really, as long as it's in one of the 9 Western states, we can deliver. Our site crew who does the work on site for delivery and setup, they are going to be focused on our Oregon and Washington projects. So if we're outside of Oregon and Washington, it would be what we call like a long haul or drop and go delivery. And so we can deliver outside of Oregon and Washington. We would just have to find some local contractors who can handle all the site work for you. Do you ship to California? Yes, we ship to California. It would be, again, what we call a long haul or drop and go delivery. We haven't permitted yet in California, but we are willing to take on the permit process for California. And then we would do just a long haul delivery. So local contractors would be doing the site work for excavation, foundation, utility connections, inspections, all of those things. And then we would just do a long haul drop and go to California, and we've done a couple of them before. Do your homes go on a foundation? Yes, our homes do go on a foundation. It is what is called a stem wall foundation. So, meaning that the perimeter of the house is where the foundation is. The house will be placed on that stem wall foundation, and there is a crawl space access. So, standard height of our foundations per our stamped plans is a 2 foot tall stem wall foundation. So, if we figure my desk is your ground level, 1 foot above ground, 1 foot below ground for that 2 foot tall foundation. And then the house is going to sit on that foundation. And somewhere in your house, you have a little hatch and a closet for your crawl space access. And that's how you would get down to your utilities underneath the house, down in that foundation. What is a stem wall? A stem wall is basically your perimeter foundation. So it is a 2 foot tall, 6 inch wide stem wall foundation, meaning that it follows the perimeter of the house. So depending on which model you choose, it's going to be the support of your exterior walls. In a two-piece unit, we also have pillar and beams that go down the middle where the house would connect. And so stem wall is, again, 2 feet tall, 6 inches wide is the standard. If we're in a location that has some sloping or wet soils, we can make the stem wall taller or deeper depending on what is required based on the reports that are handled during your permit process. Can your homes be placed on wheels? We are modular to stick built code. So technically, based on our permit process, if we're permitting the home, it is going to go on the foundation that we've discussed before. They can be placed on wheels if they are going to be unpermitted on a piece of property. Let's say you've got 10 acres and for some reason, a permitted structure in addition to your primary home is not allowed to be permitted on your property. We can leave them on wheels, but at that point, they are a modular home on wheels that are not really designed to be that way. So if we leave them on wheels, they're going to be delivered on your trailer. The trailer then is set in place where you want it, and we pretty much drive away. So all of the utility connections would need to be done by you, and it's an unpermitted structure on your property. Because we are modular to stick built code, we are not rated as a mobile home, a manufactured home, an RV, or a tiny home. So placing one of our homes on wheels can be done, but it's just a modular unpermitted at that point. Do you need property to buy a wolf home? And the answer is yes. So when we are starting the process with you for the phone consult, factory tour, and getting into quoting, we need to know where we are placing this wolf home. It's going to depend on the jurisdiction requirements and what the site needs for that property for us to be able to give you a quote. So yes, you need to have property in order to purchase a wolf home. What are options if you don't have property? You can reach out to a local real estate agent. Some people start searching on Redfin for property for sale. We also have some rental options. So Wolf has rental communities where if you don't have property, you're not ready to purchase property, you can rent one of our homes from one of our cottage cluster developments. Can you move your home if the situation changes and it needs to be put somewhere else? Technically, you can. So, part of our foundations are these straps that clip the house onto the foundation after delivery. And our homes can be disconnected and moved to a different location. We've actually had people who have a wolf home in their backyard as an ADU here in the city, and they want it to now become their beach home. So, we can move it. We would just need to set the new home in the new location, meaning that site work has to be redone. So everything that went into the initial placement of the house for site work and delivery, your excavation, your foundation, your utility trenching, along with the permitting, all of those things would have to be done again to move a house to a new location. What does site work look like? So there is a lot that goes into site work, and there might be some idea that site work is not as intense because the house is built in our factory. So all of those months of on-site production and building your home that might happen outside is happening in our factory in just about 11 days. But that does not mean that site work is not as intense as it would be if we were building on site. So we are still doing full excavation, which means there is piles of dirt and mud that needs to be moved around, moved off to the side so that we can then form your foundation. Then we get into foundation forming, foundation pouring. Next step is utilities. So we have utility trenching, whether that's new utilities or coming off of your primary house for an ADU in the backyard. There will be trenches, there will be mud, there will be a lot of dirt work happening. So the idea that we're placing a house in your backyard, yes, the day of delivery is relatively simple, and we've done all of that production work in our factory. We are still doing 3-ish months of site work. We got to tear it up, get it muddy and dirty before we can make it look pretty for final inspection. Thank you for watching our frequently asked questions video. I'm sure there's more questions out there, so feel free to reach out on our website, give us a call. You can visit our website at wolfind.com under the Learn tab, which has a lot of information, and like, subscribe, and comment down below. And thanks for watching the video. What does site work look like? People are like, there's so much dirt. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.